This is Sports Drive.
Welcome back into Sports Drive. Once again, I'm your host, Preston Moore. Mentioned we're going to talk about some high school football playoffs. Well, to do that, we have our News Channel 10 sports team, plus TPSN's Mike Roden, joining for our News Channel 10 wrap-up Pick'ems Challenge. This is our last week of Pick'ems, guys. It all comes down to this. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with our game of the week, Happy and Follett. We'll start with you, Mike. Who do you have?
Well, I think this is one of the best first-round matchups, not only in this area, but maybe in the state as well, between two highly touted 1A Division I teams who also played earlier in the season. And, of course, it was a close game. At least the final result was close. But Happy jumped out to a big lead early in that game. I think they led 32-8 in the first quarter of that game. Now, Follett on their home field then did battle back and made it close. 46-42 was the final. Happy holding on to win. Happy ran for over 300 yards in that game, and I think the ground game will be too much for the Panthers again. I'm going to go with Happy in a close one.
All right, Mike's going with Happy. Riley, who do you have?
Yes, I kind of agree with Mike on that. These are two obviously very good teams coming in, two of the best kind of six-man teams in the area, but just kind of Happy's dominance in the past, especially, you know, in the playoffs and stuff. I'm going to have to go with Happy on this one as well.
Riley's going with Happy. KJ, who do you have, Happy or Follett in our game of the week?
Yeah, you know, this is obviously a great one. We have Lance Lahnert going to be out there, so he'll have the post-game coverage for us on the wrap-up, and people can watch Preston's preview online now. Great job taking a look at this one and going inside the coaching matchup, too, a little bit for this one. So it should be really exciting and a really exciting game out there in White Deer. But I'm going to go with the panel on this one, Happy. They've shown a lot of athleticism. You know, I got a chance to go out and watch them recently against Will Dorado, and they have just their athleticism just stands out so much. Whether you talk about Cutter Hodges, who's a great player for them and does a lot for them on both sides of the ball, and they just fly around defensively, and they can score a lot of points in a hurry. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
All right, we got 3 picks for Happy. I'm going to go with Follett in this one. I think that they're going to get revenge on that game from earlier this season. Obviously, it was the closest game from either of their seasons. 4-point margin there at the end. They fired back toward the end of that game. So I'm going to go with Follett. In our next Pick'ems game, we have Spearman and Idalou. We're going to go reverse. KJ, who do you have, Spearman or Idalou?
Well, it's interesting because you look at this matchup. You know, Spearman was a team last year that really surprised a lot of people by making a deep playoff run. You know, if you go back and look, their regular season wasn't exactly perfect. I mean, they only had gone, I believe it was 3-7 in the regular season. And they come in as the District 4 seed into the playoffs, and they end up taking down number 1 Abernathy, and they take down Alpine in the next round 49-0, and they go on to play Canadian in that third round of the playoffs. They're district rivals. So Spearman has shown an ability last year to you know, be in this position, be an underdog in this spot, and come out with a victory. So I'm going to say history repeats itself. I'm going to pick Spearman in this one. I think they're able to pull off the upset despite coming into this one as the 4 seed. I think there's another matchup we're going to get into where it's a similar spot. So I will take Spearman in this one.
All right, Riley, who do you have?
Yeah, so I was actually out at that game, the bi-district game last year against Spearman and Abernathy, and coming in as that 4 seed, you know, they came in as the underdogs and proved themselves to, as KJ just said, go to the third round, play Canadian there. But so for that reason, I think I'm going to have to side with KJ on this because, I mean, postseason's a new season. I know some of these teams have super, super tough districts. We see that all across the board, not just with football, but with volleyball as well. A lot of great districts around here. So anything could happen no matter what, if you're the 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Spearman as well.
Mike, who do you have, Spearman or Idalou?
Well, I'd like to pick Spearman because, you know, I'd love to see them get on the road like they did last year. But I'm going to go with the Wildcats in this one. Idalou is a very prominent program in the Lubbock area. They're if they're not district champs, they're right up close every year. And they've had a 7-3 season this year. Solid campaign. They lost to some very good teams in non-district. So I'll go with the Idalou Wildcats in this one to win.
All right, and in this one, I think I am also going to go with Idalou. I think they've had a strong district season. They've beaten a lot of teams with winning records, and I think that that's a good sign for the playoffs. We're going to go on to our next and final game, Dalhart and Denver City. We'll start with you this time. Riley, who do you have, Dalhart or Denver City?
So this one might be another one where the 4 seed could surprise you. We saw Dalhart have a phenomenal year, kind of fell in that last game there that made him fall back to the 4 seed in that district. But Dalhart, Kyler Reed, our coach Joey Reed there, they've had a great season, a great program up there, really turned things around. I'm going to stick with our Panhandle or our area coverage team there and kind of go with the Dalhart Golden Wolves.
Riley's going with Dalhart. Mike, who do you have in this one, Dalhart or Denver City?
I'll go with Dalhart as well. I think that they can win this game. They've played some very tough teams, and they've played them pretty much all very strong. And so I like Dalhart and what Kyler Reed and his troops bring to the table. I'll go with the Wolves.
KJ, who do you have, Dalhart or Denver City?
Well, I'll give Lance a bit of a shout out on this one because we were talking about this game and Lance had pointed out that for the last 2 years straight, Denver City's had a great season. Denver City last year won the district title, finished the district season undefeated. The year before that had only one loss, finished in second in their district. And in both of those years, they lost to either River Road or Dalhart in kind of an upset in the playoffs. So, and Pete Christie had mentioned this. Pete Christie had mentioned this too from KCBD, that all year long, this Denver City coach, all he's been saying is we have to win a playoff game. We have to win a playoff game because they've had great regular seasons and then lost in the first round of the playoffs now for 2 years straight. So that's all this team has been thinking about all year long. But I can't pick against my Dalhart Wolves, so I got to stick with Dalhart. But this should be a very exciting game tonight. That one's going to be, we'll have coverage on the news at 10, so people can make sure to tune in for that. But this should be another great one because Denver City's going to come in with a huge chip on their shoulder. But Dalhart beat them last year, and I think Dalhart is better this year. They easily could. 2 weeks ago, this was a Dalhart team that was playing for the top spot in the district. It was them and Butchland for the top spot in the district, and they end up falling to fourth. That's the way the district season can go. But I think this Dalhart team is better than most 4 seeds.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The Dalhart team we have here this year is certainly better than most 4 seeds that you have. Coming in actually after 2 losses has to sting, so they're going to want to bounce back from that. But KJ, like you mentioned, Denver City is hungry for that win. They haven't had it in a while. They're too used to being upset in that first round. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Denver City in this one. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for our pick'ems all year long, but especially for this week as well. If you guys want to see the results of these games, you can tune into the wrap-up Friday night at 11. If you want to see the result of Dalhart and Denver City, tune into the news at 10 tonight. We'll have it on the wrap-up as well tomorrow night, as well as our final pick'ems results for the entire year, who came out on top, who ended up with the most green on the graphic this week. Guys, once again, thank you for joining the show. Really appreciate it. And we will be back with more Sports Drive right after this break.